Welcome to Business Line's State of the Economy podcast, where you'll find insight, analysis, and the story behind the numbers.
Hello and welcome to State of the Economy podcast by Business Line, where we discuss the real estate trends for the last 1 month. This is your host, Abhishek Law speaking, and we have with us Mr. Divyesh Doshi, the director of the Kinjal Group. The Kinjal Group is one of the leading construction companies. Welcome to Business Line podcast, sir.
Good afternoon. It's an honor for me to be here.
Sir, quickly running through one obvious question. How do you see the trends for this fiscal FY24? What are the trends for both home sales as well as for commercial real estate?
So, as we've already seen in the interim budget with the 11 lakh crore infrastructure spending announced in the interim budget in the month of February. So, the infrastructure and the real estate sector definitely look strong. There has been good demand in these 3 months. And now with the final budget coming up in July, we are hopeful that there are going to be good there's going to be a lot for the real estate sector, and few of the demands that the sector has placed before the government will also be fulfilled.
Okay, before I come to the demand on this, any particular number you would like to share on what sort of trends you see in commercial real estate?
So if you see the commercial real estate market has especially gone up, but in the residential luxury segment, there is a big demand that has been seen, like especially in South Mumbai, where the ticket size of a particular flat is over 20 crore. So that sector has seen a lot of growth. So I would believe that this demand is still here to stay. Otherwise, in the MMR region, talking about Maharashtra in specific, so the affordable housing segment where you have flats for around 30 lakh rupees to 40 lakh rupees, especially in the Vasai Virar belt or the Kalyan Dombivli belt. So that is also seeing good demand with projects being launched and successfully being sold regularly.
And beyond Bombay or Maharashtra, any particular numbers you would like to share again?
So if you see, apart from Maharashtra, the Bangalore market is definitely picking up, and there is a lot of demand in the Bangalore market. Also, all the capital places like Delhi are also doing very well, and so the number is the overall sector as a whole in India, I believe, is in the upward cycle, and the real estate demand is here to stay.
Okay. Again, a quick question on the budget expectations. What are your budget expectations, or what does the real estate industry really expect from the budget this time?
So, as it was expected already in the earlier interim budget, the one demand that has always been constant is the infrastructure status for the entire sector. So, what this status will particularly do is there are various benefits associated with having a specific status for the real estate sector, like including benefits in the tax rates or concessions, like as we had already seen in 2018 when the infrastructure status was granted to the affordable housing segment. So that had really given the segment a push. So we are hopeful that there is going to be a special infrastructure status given to the real estate sector. The other demand would another hopeful wish would be that the GST rates are reduced. That is one thing that would in turn further help the developers pass on the rate benefit to the consumer. And another wishful demand would definitely be lowering of the interest rates. Like the RBI in the last meeting as well has not reduced the repo rate. So if there would be a reduction in the repo rate, the interest rates would further go down, which would further increase the demand. One another demand that developers are hoping is for a single window clearance, like with the approvals process is taking so much time in our country. So a single window where all your permissions are in place, be it your building approvals, your various environment clearances, or your CRZ approvals. So if that is done by a single window, that would truly give the entire sector a push.
Anything specific to the commercial sector or commercial real estate you're looking at? Budget wish list, if I may just add that line.
So if you see the commercial real estate sector, one good thing that has happened in our country is the REITs that have come in 2019. So basically, today our country has four real estate investment trusts. So three of them are mainly only looking after commercial leases. So already the commercial segment is doing well with a lot of properties being developed. So I believe reduction of the interest rates or giving it an infrastructure status would also push the commercial segment with having more foreign investment coming into our country.
The other question, which I would like to add, is how do you see this affordable housing concept play out right now? I mean, on two parts. One is obviously the government push, two is private developers or developers going ahead with such projects.
So definitely with the cap of 45 lakh rupees for the affordable housing, so the government must increase that cap to enable more private partnership. However, affordable housing as a whole, if you see in the interim budget as well, the spending has increased to 80,000 crores. So out of the 80,000 crore, the affordable housing, mainly the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, that includes two parts. One is the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana urban, and the other is the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana rural. So
Right.
the major focus of the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana is on the rural sector, with almost 56,000 crore in the interim budget for the rural sector. So that is going to give a push of almost 2 crore homes in the next 5 years. So I'm confident that that will continue in the budget, and that will give a further push to the rural sector, where the government is almost backing those schemes with 100% investment, or a 60-40 investment, or a 90-10 investment in states like Jammu and Kashmir. So based on different states, the sharing of the government with the private player is deferred, and this is truly giving the segment a push, where the government itself is putting in the money to ensure that homes are being constructed for the poor.
And what about the private developers coming up and with such homes? I mean, if I look at the trends, general trends in cities, affordable housing really is not a private developer's forte. Or I mean, most of them exited all these projects at some point.
This is because mainly because the definition of affordable housing is flats for around 45 lakh rupees, which are not feasible in most of the cities. Like if you say, like if I take an example of the city of Mumbai, like to construct a flat for 45 lakh rupees, even if it's a basic 300 square feet, that would be selling at a rate of 15,000 per square feet, which is not possible because the costs and the premiums, the land cost in the city is so high, and the premiums and the construction cost will not make the project viable. Hence, in the tier 1 cities, it is very difficult for a private player to come up with an affordable housing project. And the definition of affordable housing in terms of the value of the flat must increase for more private players to participate in this affordable housing program.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. So the a related topic that I would love to explore is redevelopment projects that have been coming up across cities, be it in Mumbai, be it in other parts of the country. How do you see them play out right now? Would they be continue to be affordable projects, commercially viable projects? Because our previous instances in some of these vertical slums or redevelopment projects haven't really been very good under JNN URM.
Definitely, but however, the redevelopment projects are here to stay. Whether they are going to be commercially viable, the government is trying to bring incentive schemes wherein there is always a incentive on the rehab component that is being offered to the developers to make these projects viable. Redevelopment projects in our country are definitely here to stay. One primary reason being there is very less open land in cities, so that is why, to ensure projects are to get good lands, you need to do redevelopment projects. And one thing about redevelopment projects is that the tenants are looking mainly for three things. One is the transit rent, the second being the area that is offered to them, and third is the corpus fund with which they are going to eventually maintain the new building that is going to come up. So if these three things are in place and the approval process is further bettered, so then these redevelopment projects become more fast, they become faster, because usually in a redevelopment process this entire cycle takes a lot of time, at the end of which some projects do not stay viable anymore. But if the cycle is quicker, like in a case of an open land where you can directly just start construction, you get your approval, you start construction, so the cycle of those projects is usually 3 years. But in a redevelopment projects or a slum project, as you know, in our city there are few slums that are stuck even since 20
Right.
years That is because the entire process is so long. There are so many different windows that a developer has to go to. So if this becomes a single window, and with the increase in FSI and incentive, these projects are definitely viable, and redevelopment is here to stay.
Interesting. And would these push be towards commercial properties or housing schemes? How do these redevelopment projects you see play out in the future? I mean, whatever they are today they are, but what is the future you see?
So Abhishek, as you see, a community or our cities, how they usually develop is in their entirety. It's not that only you will see a residential area being formed. With residences, you need an entire ecosystem. So definitely that will also push the commercial segment, the retail segment, the hospitality, or even the educational institutions, because developers are also focusing on forming communities. I'm not only talking about redevelopment projects, but even from the point of view of various townships coming up on the outskirts of the city. So everyone is looking at a holistic approach, an entire ecosystem, because the role of a developer today is to create a lifestyle. So with residential, even commercial is seeing a push. Along with that is retail, educational, or even the hospitality sector.
A small political twist to this question, considering the changing nature of the government in India, factoring in things like coalition majority, are you still hopeful of redevelopment projects?
Definitely, that's the beauty of our democracy, that the governments will keep changing, but we have a strong system in place. The laws of India, the Constitution of India, the entire legal system is so strong that even when governments change, even if it's a coalition government, the outgoing government, the work left over by the outgoing government is always taken care by the incoming government, and there are going to always be a few changes that governments bring, but overall the nature of scheme or the general development will not stop, and India is going to strongly march towards becoming the third largest economy and will surely achieve the $5 trillion mark.
And the other question I have always asked is on price movements in homes. Do you see, I mean, they have been moving up quite fast, quite rapidly over the last few quarters, and almost all listed developers have been hiking prices. Where does this stop? How does this movement happen now? I mean, what is the balance level at the market?
I truly believe since after 2010 to 2018, the prices were not moving that fast, and there was a stagnant in the market. And so after 2018, and especially after COVID, as the market has picked up, developers are increasing the prices. But however, I still believe the prices today are reasonable, and there has been a lot of correction in the market, because with so many players out there, with so much inventory and supply out there, products will sell only if you are offering a fair price, and the consumer today is also very educated and they know what product they are getting into. So it is the prices, I believe, are fair today, and it's a very good opportunity for anyone to invest in real estate today.
And my final question is just taking you back to the commercial property and REITs in general. This is going to be my final question on this, on the podcast also. In general, REITs have had their ups and downs, and beyond these four, we really have not had many REITs in India. I mean, what's your take on this? Do you see a prospect for REITs moving ahead? Because despite the change in SEZ norms, not much space has been freed up. The REITs are still, let's say, jerky, if I may put the word in here.
Correct. See, with India, anything new that comes in our country takes time to grow. But I feel the response that REITs has received in our country in the last 5 years, ever since they came in 2019, there have already been four REITs, and this is only here to grow. And with the average young Indian investing in the stock market, with more retail investors, people are looking to invest and diversify their portfolio by investing in these real estate investment trusts. And if you see the returns that they are offering, so they are quite fair in compared to the other products. So definitely this REITs market will increase. You spoke about SEZ land being cleared, so that is the challenge that is being faced. But with more commercial and retail projects coming up, definitely these investments are further only going to increase, and maybe 5 to 10 years down the line, maybe Kinjal also may have its own reality. REIT.
Okay.
Let's be hopeful.
No, all the best to you on that. That was my last question on the show. Wishing you all the best on your future endeavors. And
Thank you
once
so
again,
much,
thank you.
Abhishek.
Thank you for your time. Thank you so much.